Hi guys, welcome back. This is week 26 Project Life. Today I am using the remainder of my July Life Crafted kit from Citrus Twist. I've got my photos all printed, and the first thing I'm going to do, apart from pick out these few cards, is I'm going to test out this idea that I've had in my brain for a little while. I wasn't really sure whether this was going to work or not. I decided this was kind of the perfect page to do it on. I love some of the brighter colors I'm using. The photos are a little bit duller. A couple of them are in black and white. And so I wanted to do something a little bit fancy to kind of jazz this page up a little bit. My idea works perfectly with this photo down here because it's a little bit weird, isn't it? I'm using Citrus Twists to document Citrus Twists arriving. So I had my new Life Crafted albums arrive. I was very excited. So this page is, this photo is definitely about happy mail. And so the idea that I had was to create an envelope card. Now, I don't technically need this to be an actual functioning working envelope. In fact, that won't work because this spread is going to be on the back of a page protector, so there would be no way to open the flap at all anyway. But what I want to do is kind of create this faux envelope. So the first thing I'm doing is just using a little ruler, and I'm measuring out a center point a little way down from the top of my page. And you can see here I'm using my paper trimmer. You could have ruled it out and used scissors. It was just as easy to do it this way. So that's going to be sort of the top of my envelope. And then I'm going to repeat the process at the bottom here, and I'm going to create a triangle. So this time it doesn't need to come down from the, well, this is the bottom. It doesn't need to come up from the bottom anymore. It's just a plain triangle. And then once I've got those two pieces, I'm just going to stitch around the outside of them, and it's literally just to give it a little bit of texture. And again, the same thing, I'm going to rough up the edges, mostly just so that you can identify the edges. I'm using this really pretty patterned blue paper, but because it's going to be blue on blue on blue, it is going to be slightly harder to see those edges of what the actual like envelope in air quotes is. So adding the stitching and the distressing detail just gives it a little bit more emphasis. So I used that remaining piece of the pattern paper and just trimmed off the sort of triangle-y pieces that were sticking out, so that it was 4 inches high. It's still 6 inches wide. And then all I have to do is stick my two triangle pieces. Well, this is not technically a triangle, but stick them on, and it looks like a little envelope. I'm so happy with how this turned out. It's so cute. I'm kind of a bit gutted that I printed my photo this size. It is covering up a significant portion of that envelopeness. But this is definitely something I will try again. I really loved how it turned out, and next time I will be aware that it will work, and I can print a slightly smaller photo. Now, this is, I guess, technically the back of an envelope, so I don't need to add a stamp or anything like that. I'm just using one of the ready-made kind of stacks of paper. This is just a printed piece from that pattern paper. I just trimmed it out, distressed the edges a little bit, trimmed it a little bit so it looks like it's kind of, you know, stuck together paper, and added that under my photo. That's literally just to give me a place to put my kind of, it's not really journaling, it's just kind of like a wee mini title on here. So I'm going to use those tiny alpha stickers. They're the white ones with yellow on them, so again it works perfectly with those colors. And I'm just going to write happy mail. It's perfect for this photo. I couldn't be happier with how this card turned out. It is one of my favorites in a very, very long time. Now everything else is pretty simple. This is just a 3x4 journaling card. The kind of title on it didn't make a whole lot of sense, so I covered it up with my photo, and the yellow card there you might have seen at the start was actually the 3x8 card from the kit, but I have trimmed it down to be a 3x4 because I just love that pop of yellow. It goes with the album and my photo and that little strip of paper that I've cut. It's just, I just want as many pops of color in here as I can get. Next up, I'm going through the die cut pack, the ephemera pack, and I won't use very many of these pieces at all. In fact, I think I only use 1 or 2, and that's okay. Sometimes I use heaps, sometimes I don't use a lot. What I am going to use a lot of are these cut apart labels. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim all of them out, not just the ones I think I'm going to need. I'm going to just trim all of them, because I'm going to do a label rainbow. It's one of my favorite things to do. Haven't done it in a long time. I love that pink stripe that I've used for the title card. I've already used it before. I had to use the other half. And I think with all of this color going on, nothing's going to suit that more than a label rainbow. It's really hard for me to say today. Anyway, I pulled out the ones that I wanted to use on my title card, and I was thinking I was going to use the black one on this sort of photo grid of Lil, but I did remember there was a chipboard piece in here that I sort of wanted to use instead. So you can see me looking, I don't love that label because it's black. I'm trying to add color, and so going off theme like that by adding a black label to there just wasn't going to work. The label serves no purpose here other than just being a little sort of layering piece and adding some color. So I used one of the pieces from that die cut pack. It's a little teal one. It's not necessarily a label. I guess it's got like a little arrow piece on it, and I just covered that up with the chipboard sticker and then added a couple of the gorgeous enamel dots from this kit. I'm like super obsessed with them. I can't get enough, so you're gonna see those a lot this week too. Now here's my little label rainbow. I'm basically just putting them in kind of a rainbow order, except pink's at the bottom instead of purple. And I am not layering them like one on top of each other. So I'm sort of started at the top and the bottom, and then I'm going to fill back in, trying to keep things as straight as possible. And I add all of them, and then I'm going to just, this one I didn't love how the yellow was on top and the teal was kind of almost completely hidden. So I'm going to swap a few of those. The orange one was really large, so I just swapped a few of them. I've only added a little bit of adhesive to each of those because I am just going to run that through my sewing machine. Less for the like adhesiveness of it, and more just to add a little bit more stitching because I've got that stitched envelope down the bottom. It adds a bit more consistency if I can add some stitching elsewhere, and that's where I'm going to do that. Now I've got a few stamps that I want to use. I've just gone ahead and done my journaling, typed that straight on my typewriter, and I've got the space down the bottom, and I'm just going to fill it up with stamps. It's got a date, like a slot for a date and that sort of thing down there. I'm not going to add anything like that, so I'm just kind of filling up the space with a couple of stamps. This is from the This Is Life stamp set from July, and I'm using some pink ink instead of black. The black I think would have competed too much with the journaling, I guess, and again I'm trying to add color, so that's what I've done. I knew there were some hearts in here in this die cut pack as well that I wanted to use, so I dug through them, and this one isn't colored, it's black and white, but I really love how that looks, so I'm going to add that anyway. I did glue down the one die cut that I had pulled out for my 3x4 photo on the left, and for my photo on the right here I'm just going to stack a couple of stamps again. So one of them is from the actual kit stamp set, and one of them is from the Traveler's Notebook stamp set. So I'm stamping the first one in pink, again a little bit of consistency, but the second stamp I am going to stamp in black, kind of to make it look a little bit more like my journaling card. So it is that typewriter-y kind of font, and I like the way those tie together as well. So this is my, third, fourth die cut here. I'm just going to stick this down. It says my happy place. This is my desk after my Patreon live stream. So I'm literally just going to use these little pink alphas. I think they're available in the shop. They were from an older kit. They're one of my favorites. I can't get enough of them. And I'm just spelling out the word live stream. So the last thing I have to do is just finish up my title card. I want to use these Madison alphabets just to spell out the word week. But once I had that label rainbows sitting there, I thought it would be better to have my week on the left hand side, so I just wanted to check how that looked with the spread. I think it looks fine. I've done a tiny bit of planning just to make sure that this is going to fit in, because these alphas are big and thick and chunky, and it actually does. I just had to be a little bit careful with the stamping to make sure I squeeze things in a little bit there, and it worked perfectly. I love this outfit. It is so good. I'm stamping my date stamp straight onto one one of the labels, and then the only other thing I have to add is my date week number, and I'm using those same pink alphas to do that. Again, consistency. And now I'm going to go back in and just add a few more of these little enamel dots. So I added some to the title card, and I would have left it there, except I didn't love how the enamel dots were only at the top of my spread. So I am going to go back in and add a few everywhere. Why not? I love them. I'm going to sprinkle them around like there's no tomorrow. I'm adding some on my envelope card and some on my 4x6 photo, just to kind of spread it around. And I love how this turned out. This is one of my favorite weeks, I think. Bright and bold, and I love that I used a little bit more of that kit. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye guys.